Hey, and welcome to another edition of the Finger Lakes Board Sports Podcast, brought to you by Rochester Wind Sports and the hardworking people here at FingerLakes1.com. It's 1:30ish on February 26, 2015, and I'm Doug Willard, along with my co-host Jay Gordon. We're coming to you from historic Seneca Falls, New York. And howdy, Jay. You've been beating the Winter Blues back?
Living the dream, Douglas.
Living the dream. All right, we're not alone in studio, and we've got a guest calling in as well. We took a little bit of a winter break over the past couple months, but we're back and recharged, ready to go with the podcast. Today's an important show in the history of our podcast. Jay, you and I have been together it's been a year now that we've been coming down to Seneca Falls and doing this.
It's a quick year past like that.
Our cozy little chats, like good
times.
Using our radio voices.
Good times.
So, yeah, it is a good time. Today's show brings a local wind and water sport legend back into the studio with us. He's our first return guest, but he was our first guest. He celebrates another rad year of being on the water, and we begin another year ourselves. We'll also have the Finger Lakes Coffee Roasters coffee break coming up mid-show, and today's sample brews are vanilla macadamia nut, and they've also sent us, for you coffee aficionados, Tanzanian pea berry, and I had to do a little research to learn about that to truly understand what I was enjoying as we do sample those two coffees in studio here at the mid-show Finger Lakes Coffee Roasters coffee break. But our first guest today has called into the show from New Hampshire, home base for Kitewing Sports. If you haven't heard that name before, you will, I'm sure. And Kitewing is what I believe is, or probably is, the fastest growing winter wind powered sport in North America, if not the world, in my opinion. A Kitewing, to describe it, and you'll be able to see it here if you're watching the podcast in just a minute. Kitewing is a beautiful hybrid of a windsurfing rig, sail, and a hang glider is the best way I can describe it. And it helps you to easily and effortlessly, you can propel yourself across frozen water, on snow, roads. But so our guest comes to us from Kitewing Sports. His name is Will Tuthill, and as I said, he is with Kitewing, and he's leading the charge of bringing winter winging, as it's called, to an open space near you. So, without further ado, welcome to the show, Will.
Well, hello.
Thanks for being here. We're glad you took a minute to be on the podcast with Jason and our other guest, too, we'll talk about, who happens to be Lynn Davis. Really quick, getting into Kitewing then. I discovered Kitewing when I was searching for a way to chase Jason and the other kite guys around here. And I wanted to get something in my hands because when there wasn't ice and I couldn't windsurf on the ice, I was stuck. And I was hearing all these guys talking about all the great snow sessions they were having. And I found your website. And I've had a chance to try it, and I'm hooked. And I'm wondering about you. When did you find Kitewing, or when did you decide that this was something that you really needed to go with?
Well, all right. I mean, do we count the part about me sitting on a sled as a child holding my coat open?
Absolutely.
We sure do. It's an affliction.
Okay, then that morphed into like a standard old-style Patcong or drag sail or skate sail.
Okay.
With ice skates, and that went for a while. And then back when the wind weapon was developed, those guys, Magruder brothers, they had 1987. They had a product called the Aerostar Wing, and saw that, ordered it right away, tried it, got pretty hooked on that. And then when the Kitewing came out, it was actually called the Skimbat, and the first prototypes were in 1990, and I had been in the Estonian Soviet Union, as it was called, in 1991 for a world championship. I saw that wing. That was it. The rest is history.
Sure, and that's kind of what I felt like. That's fantastic. Kitewing was born about what time? Year-wise, and in what country did Skimbat, then now Kitewing? When did it kind of? When was it born?
Around 1990.
1990. And it was, am I right? I thought I read a piece of literature that said it was in Finland?
Yes.
And right now we actually, live on the podcast, we've got a photo I think it's the 5.5 Rage Wing, and blazing across some beautiful reflective black ice. And we've also got another shot of just a group of people winging across again some frozen water. What are the applications? What is ideal for using a kite wing?
Well, I got to say, we were having this conversation out in the middle of Lake Sunapee in New Hampshire on Monday, where the snow was so deep it was above your thigh. And we were sailing around in these giant drifts and catching big airs and everything, and commenting that it's different every single time. I mean,
sure.
Next week it might be 6 inches of snow. We could be on ice. You just don't know. The weather is so changeable.
So it's really variable where you can use it. I've seen even photos, not having a wing myself today, but hopefully soon in the future. I've seen people using them in the summertime with like rollerblades and like a longboard skateboard. Is that an application that you see realistic for a kite wing too?
It's done. I'm not interested. I don't want to. I'd rather windsurf in the summer.
As do I, and that brings us back to our podcast and kind of what we do. Did I describe the wing correctly when I described it as kind of a hybrid between a windsurfing rig and a hang glider? Does that do it justice?
Sure. You might, to simplify matters, say that it looks like a mini hang glider. It takes half the time of a windsurfing rig to set up. It literally sets up in under 5 minutes, and it floats. It's not attached to anything the way a windsurfing rig has to be hooked onto a board or something like that. And if you get too much wind with a windsurfing sail, you push out the back edge to spill the air away. But with a wing, you can remain hooked in and fly it level, and you just get more lift from it. And that's what makes it fun. When you start to hit snowdrifts and you're getting a lot of lift and you're still moving fast, you can. My 200 pounds drops away to 80.
Wow. Well, we've got some wonderful video rolling from, I believe, Sunapee that was filmed maybe even as recently as Monday, and it's a YouTube video that was fantastically done. I can't remember the guy's name. I want to say it was Eric, but beautiful sunny skies, snow-covered water, and a number of different rigs being used, and it's rolling right now, and it's really something to behold. I mean, we've got people getting air, and if you like to be outside in the element, it looks. How can you say no to it? So you talked about the ease of rigging it. What about the ease of learning? Is it an easy thing to pick up?
Takes half an hour to learn and a lifetime to master.
Beautiful. That's
and
perfect.
Will, I have a quick question. What percentage of time do you spend hooked in versus unhooked to your harness? Is that a very...
that depends on how much resistance there is. If the snow is deep, it's tempting to stay hooked in more. At the World Championships on Lake Winnebago just a couple of weeks ago, on the downwind legs, I was pretty much unhooked the whole time because I needed to be able to sort of pump the rig and find icy spots to maintain momentum. And so even though these courses were over 20 miles long and we were doing 3 of them before lunch, I was staying unhooked about half the time there.
Wow. Now, compared to windsurfing, what kind of arm pump do you experience with the kite wing versus a windsurfing rig?
Well, there's so much less drag.
Is there? Yeah.
You got to drag a board through the water. That's a lot of drag.
Yep.
Wow. Wing-wise, visiting your website, kitewing.com, you've got a number of options with different sized wings and perhaps even applications for each wing. Can you briefly talk about the different wings you offer and what might be something that's good for entry level or someone that's experienced?
It's mostly weight based though, and a little bit tied to what's your sailing surface. If you live in an area with light winds and you're going to be dealing with a lot of snow, we recommend the 5.5, the larger one. The 4.8, I went many years with that as my only wing, and it's remarkable. You get together with somebody who's got a 5.5. If you're on a surface that's like corn snow, that kind of snow that we're all going to see in about 2 to 3 weeks from now. Gray ice that locks up at night and gets kind of runny during the day. Slush.
Yep.
Loose for blades.
Yep.
For skis, it's perfect. You could take a 4.8 and a 4.0, which is the smallest one, and a 5.5, and the 5.5 will be a little faster off, but they'll all get there eventually. So it's weight based, and it's to do with the surface conditions.
Wonderful, fantastic. You were talking about being on Centipede. You also mentioned, not by name, but you mentioned WISSA, the World Ice and Snow Sailing Association. You guys had the championships out in Fond du Lac, Wisconsin. Where do you find the pockets of people? Where is kitewing really caught on? And where are kind of the strongholds right now for people using skim bats and kitewings?
Oh, God. Look at the results. We all kneel before the Swedish team.
It does show. If you were checking in with it, which I was, because my curiosity is boundless with kitewing. I'm trying to get as much as I can all the time, but they really do. And the video that we showed, or the photo that we showed of the race, just it looks like dogs are blowing off chains and they're in control. Just it's beautiful watching them flow, and it's amazing. So the Swiss, or the Swedish, they're really in the forefront of it.
I would say now they're the best organized. And the other thing is, it's kind of like if you were interested in soccer and David Beckham would just hang out with you and share tips.
Yeah, you're picking stuff up from them. So New Hampshire's a pretty good spot. I've seen photos or read tales of people all across the country using them, and just following over the past month or so that I've discovered kitewing. I've seen, like I said, people all across the country, Canada, and the world, of course, are really turned on to it. The world. Can you talk about WISSA a little bit? I know you're strongly. Are you currently you're strongly involved with WISSA? Are you the president? Did I get that right?
That's that no-pay job that no one wants to do.
But, how long has WISSA existed? What is it exactly? I know they've got 3 different classes. Give us a little history of that, because it's kind of fascinating too, and you don't know it's there unless you've gone and looked for it, or you've met somebody that knows it.
Well, I think that perhaps the coolest takeaway stat, if you're a windsurfer for WISSA, is that it is the longest-running international competition in the history of.
So how starting when?
Okay, the organization was officially organized or incorporated, or whatever you'd say, in 1987. But the races that preceded it, it's almost like a church that, it was a parish before they got a church building.
Yeah.
And it got started in 1980 and formally sort of organized and incorporated in 1987. And so for our purposes, we're counting starting 1980 to now. So this makes this past year the 35th annual.
That is fantastic. That's something to brag about. That's something to be proud of, at the very least, but something to brag about. Any highlights from this year's competition? I think it was fantastic to discover that it was here in the United States of America. Where has it been in the past? And again, any highlights any takeaway for you with your association with WISSA?
Well, yeah, of course. I mean, this is how I remember the years of my life gone by, where we went, what we did. The greatest adventures that I've ever had have all been, attached to travels. Who the heck else is going to go up to a small town far off the Arctic Circle, Finland, during February?
Yeah.
I mean, you just wouldn't normally take a vacation to a place like that, but as a result, one year we did that, and then we took a week afterwards when we went up to Lapland. Had some of the most amazing experiences with Aurora Borealis and sailing on mountains with kitewings, where the mountaintops don't have trees and they're gentle and rolling.
Whoa!
Down the lift, rig up your wing at the top of the mountain, and sail uphill, downhill, and all over Dodge.
Cool.
Very nice.
Pretty good stuff. So anyway, but WISSA it typically goes between North America and Europe each year. We were putting a lot of pressure on the Swedes to host next year, but they had issues with wind and ice predictability. We received a really nice offer from which we were still waiting for the paperwork on it, from Estonia, because they have very good documentation that the first competition sailing with windsurfing rigs on snow and ice took place 40 years ago in 2016. So,
wow. Wow. That's so kind of coming all home again. That is fantastic. Absolutely. Well, you're a busy guy, so we thank you for taking the time. But how would you suggest one if they've watched our show today? How do you get into Kitewing? Are there places that people should look? People they should contact? What's the easiest way for folks to find out more if they're curious?
Well, that's a good question. We're working on that right now. The company was in Finland, and they ran into financial trouble, and the result was we moved it here to the U.S., and we're just sort of getting our feet back under us right now. There's a pretty good if you're in your area, it's not too terribly far to come over to New Hampshire, where we hope to have our 9th annual tour of the lighthouses on Lake Sunapee in the beginning of April. And then who knows, maybe Rochester Wind Sports will become a hotbed.
I would love that, Will. I agree. Maybe Rochester Wind Sports would become a hotbed. But so New Hampshire is kind of ground zero right now for Kitewing. And, of course, you guys are on the internet at kitewing.com. You've got a fantastic Facebook page that's updated regularly with very visually appealing images. As recently as yesterday, you guys were just featured on CNN International. Is that right? Was that a surprise?
That not really, because I gave an interview to the reporter, but yeah, those pictures are quite good. And you can see the Swedish uniforms, and the cover page there is Carl James jumping with his elevated skates. Yeah,
those skates are oh, yeah, that's a good thing to ask. And as we've been going through here showing images during the show, what's with the elevated skates? Obviously, people can use skis and then simply Nordic ice skates. But what's the reasoning for those elevated or platform skates?
Oh, just to make it harder. No.
It looks that way, but what is the advantage? There's got to be one. They're all doing it, and they're all blowing our doors off.
To get up into the wind a little better, maybe?
They get a little higher up into the wind, and also they can lay over really hard on those skates. Nice. I've tried. I don't really like downhill ski boots and skates too much because of my bad knees. But I think we've actually reached an agreement with Sail 365 in Sweden, who's currently producing a really nice blade for downhill boots, and I think I'm going to go over to that next year.
Fantastic. Well, many thanks to you, Will, for taking the time out of your schedule, right? I mean, fascinating,
Absolutely.
You guys.
Thanks for coming on, Will.
Something we'll certainly all keep an eye on, and I'm going to do my best by next season at this time. Geez, maybe even by that tour of the lighthouses. Who knows? I might pull the trigger on one of your wings. But we wish you the best of luck, and we can't wait to see how Kitewing catches on. So thanks for calling the show.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
Bye-bye.
All right. So pretty exciting, eh, you guys?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say. I came from a hang gliding background, and I've been interested in this thing since I saw him first in the early 90s as a wind weapon out in the gorge. And at the time I was out there, I was just happy to have enough money to be out there. I wasn't looking to buy equipment.
Yeah.
But I was fascinated to hear them. But back then, they used to take some pretty good hits on them.
It's got to be amazing to see how it's evolved.
Yeah, but boy, this is intriguing. I'll tell you, I really like this.
Well, if I end up getting one around here, I mean, I will certainly do my best to share it because, as all of us are well aware, sharing that experience out there with others is.
It reminds me of when did rollerblades come out? Like the early '90s, and
I think that's
taking a couple broomsticks and creating
a
Kitewing in a parking lot. And people are looking at me like, "What's this idiot?"
I've seen an epic parking lot kiting video of this guy. Have you seen that video, Lynn?
Oh yeah.
Was that MCC or
back in the day?
That was awesome.
It's just learning.
Just carving. It didn't look like you looked total pro.
I was finally figuring out how to do it at that point, but yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. Well, we're all holding cups of. We've all got near us cups of coffee from Finger Lakes Coffee Roasters. Those guys are one of the sponsors of our show, and that brings us kind of to the Finger Lakes Coffee Roasters coffee break. and they become an integral part of our podcast, and we enjoy that. Larry and Bob at Finger Lakes Coffee Roasters have been doing their thing since 1995 and excel at it. And you can visit them at fingerlakescoffee.com. Variety is the spice of life, and what we've got this year with so many of the this show with so many of the flavors that they do, they've come up with a brand new one, vanilla macadamia nut, and it's no exception to being a great flavor. And I'll save my observation, let you guys go. And the other one is Tanzania Peaberry is our other coffee of the day. So we're each drinking each one. But any early feedback, you guys, from what you've sampled in studio? I know, Lynn, you tried the Tanzania Peaberry. Is that correct?
Peaberry, right. I thought I could see Mount Kilimanjaro while I was drinking it.
Wow.
It was very good.
It is delicious. You were
Really
marking
good,
that.
yeah.
I've got it now. Jay, anything?
I'm having the Peaberry
You're having the
also. I
Peaberry
really
as
like
well.
it. It's nice.
Yeah.
I drink it black, and it's got a nice, boldness.
It does.
Yeah.
And, I know
Robust.
the literature that about it, reading, because I'm typically a person who drinks more of the flavored coffee. I'll own up to that. And I enjoy the vanilla macadamia nut. It's I can taste the nut, and it's not too much vanilla. When I want vanilla, I'll go with straight French vanilla. But the Tanzanian Peaberry, I found, I had to find out more about it. It's pretty unique. As Lynn alluded to with his Kilimanjaro remark, the bean is grown in the shadows of Mount Kilimanjaro, and apparently only like 10% of the coffee beans in the world develop the desirable characteristics of the Tanzanian Peaberry bean. So it's I guess a Kenyan coffee. It's like a Kenyan coffee, but it's less acidic and a bit lighter. But you don't get to drink one like that every day. So what about the aroma? It smells great in here.
It does, yeah.
Oh, yeah, really good. Really good.
Really lucky for that. So yeah. Interestingly, you guys ski, or Lynn, do you still ski at all, or did your snowboard?
I haven't skied in a long time.
Not
I'm
in a
pretty
while.
much snowboard.
I've been down a couple times this year, yeah.
You're down to Bristol. I was down
Actually,
to Bristol.
Freehill.
Oh yeah, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you're a highly skilled athletic individual.
Jeez, I don't
That's
know.
some studio love
Ask my
for
wife
Jay.
about that. I don't know. She may think differently.
Hey, well, I'm here to fill your bucket. But when I was down there the other day, I was down with my son, my 9-year-old son, and we were heading out of the parking lot. And he spotted the Finger Lakes Coffee Roasters minivan. And earlier that day, I'd been inside for a coffee break with some of the regulars.
Did you hijack it?
Is
that how you get all this coffee,
all
Doug?
this free coffee. I figure they're sponsoring us.
Yeah.
It's coming to be free. No, but I learned a trick that the regulars kind of use with their Jamaican Me Crazy, and it was interesting and unique. They'll fill up most of the coffee with the Jamaican Me Crazy. They've also got the Bristol Mountain Blend, and then top it off with a little of the hot cocoa mix from the machine next door for a little chocolatey, creamy sweetness. So I tried it.
Mocha action.
Yeah, right. It's good.
Nice.
It was delicious. You watch the guys and girls fly down the hill. I think they had the acro bag. Familiar with the acro bag?
No.
It's a huge pillow for the people that are doing all the tricks and the flips and the twists.
Oh,
and the
yeah.
Mick shoved.
Thought maybe it was doctor's orders. You wear it on your leg, kind of thing.
No, and not if I run into something.
Sorry.
And fall.
Different products. Sorry.
But so that's what they do with their Jamaican Me Crazy down there, and it was nice. So they do a great job there at Finger Lakes Coffee Roasters, and you can buy their stuff at some of their local outlets. It's also available online, and all around there. So we're really lucky to have them on here.
Thank you for that. It's
Yeah,
tasty.
cheers.
Cheers.
Aloha.
And
Where are the local outlets?
well, there's one in Canandaigua at 332 and
Okay.
Route 96. They actually have
Pittsburgh
their
Plaza?
There's one in Pittsburgh Plaza. That's the one I visit. That's closest to me. Although there's a coffee shop near me that has
Carries
their
it?
beans exclusively. Yeah, and whatever the 3 or 4 or 5 varieties they have in, they always have more, and they'll sell it to you. Let's see. There's one down at Strong, the hospital, Strong Hospital. That one gets a lot of people.
Man, there's a line in that every time.
Provides support and gets a lot of people hooked.
Yeah.
Let's see, where else is there? Pittsburgh Plaza, and their roastery is right off 96 in Victor too.
Oh, it is? Okay.
Yeah, so a little nondescript building that you can smell the coffee.
Oh, yeah.
When you go by. So a lot of good stuff going on there. So we're glad they're there. But let's bring it back to the studio.
Yeah.
And like we mentioned before, and you've seen them a lot, Lynn Davis, local Waterman water sport legend, is in town. He's back on the show. He was our first guest, along with Benjamin, his dog. Yeah. Benji's back.
Yeah. Say hi, Benji.
Benji's
a little bit more enthusiasm than that.
Yeah.
All right.
Wake up, bud. He's snoring here.
Yeah, these mics are good. I picked that up earlier.
Yeah,
so Lynn's back. You've had a busy wind sport year, I think, right?
Yeah, we had an excellent fall. I haven't been out in the last month or so. I've been busy with the house, but we had really good waves in the fall. Ontario and Lake Erie, and also way up at the towards the St. Lawrence at the east end of Lake Ontario. It's been really good.
Fantastic.
So,
that's somewhere that I know you guys have been. It seems in the past couple of years have really been exploring more. Jason, you too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I think you've even got some video that you'll show today.
Erie and Ontario, great spots up at the end of the lakes, definitely.
So any winter stuff for you right now, Lynn? You done that? Besides, I know you're working on the house. Have you gotten out on the snowboard with the kite at all this year?
I haven't been on the snowboard. I got out on the free skate a couple of times on Long Pond, and we had ice pretty early there. Good clean ice, and got a couple of sessions, and then the snow started, and that was the end of that. So
if there's any one of us in the studio here, it would be you who's got the most board sports experience. What brought you into board sports, to so to speak, and can you give us a little chronology of how your history of board sports activity has gone? Since you were as young as start standing up on a sled, falling down at Durand Eastman Park kind of thing, or
I always sledded when I was a kid, and I was intrigued when they came out with Snurfers, which was like the first snowboard thing that you got on with a rope. And didn't have much luck with that. Tried one.
The rope was attached to the front of it. Is that
right?
To
the front of it, yeah, to help you with your balance forward and back. And I really got into water skiing. It was my first thing board sports that I got into. I always liked boats and loved the water. Always a water dog. And when I got in it, could stand up on skis and go around the lake, and I was hooked on that. So I did that for a long time, and then windsurfers came out.
You got in the wave?
I was intrigued with that, and I really didn't get into it for quite a while for one reason or another. But when I finally got into it, I really got hooked on windsurfing very quickly, and so that was good. And then I did that for a long time, and then the kiteboarding came along, and I was intrigued with that. And one year we were in Hawaii, and me and my buddy Paolo decided to go in on a kite and a board and figure it out. And so we had a real good time learning that, and I just got hooked on that. So I've been doing the kiting, pretty much ever since. I still get back on the windsurfer once in a while, but
I saw you this summer a couple times.
Not very often, so
more or less without missing a beat. What do you?
It's a pretty early shot of Mr. Davis doing a little canoeing in Waterman for a long time.
Yeah, and he's in the canoe probably because his parents took away the water skis. He must have done something bad. Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Now you still have that canoe, don't you?
I still have that canoe. That was my grandpa's canoe, and that's been around since I think he got it in the mid-40s. It's a Grumman canoe made after the World War II. But I was always on the water doing one thing or another. And there's another shot there. I think you might have that one of me and my brother in the boat. And basically my grandpa had a little trolling motor.
Yeah.
And we would put that trolling motor on a rowboat and take a gallon of gas, and we'd be gone for the day.
Those are good
and we'd
memories.
Explore all of the lake and the islands up there in the Adirondacks, and just had a ball with that thing.
It was exploring.
Yeah.
So that sense
I've
of
got to
adventure.
show this one too.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Not a board sport, but Lynn Davis original extreme sportster there in the second place there, I think. Or is that you in front?
That's me in front.
Wow.
Yeah, like late 70s maybe.
That's early 70s.
He looks like the Hulk.
In fact, that's a 1970 OSA that I bought at the end of the season from a guy. So it's probably 71 or 72.
Look at him. Yeah. He looks like the Hulk. Is that green? It says it's even green.
Yeah.
Lynn.
So that's back in the day. I mean, dirt bikes back then, there weren't even any Japanese dirt bikes. They were all Spanish. So
idea.
that
Original extreme sportster, man.
I agree.
Early
And
70s.
apparently not just a waterman. When we talked about, you mentioned hang gliding. That was
Yeah.
new to me.
Yeah.
And
Well, and then the ultralights. I mean, this
Yeah,
guy's
then I went from hang gliding to ultralights. So
wow.
above the earth, below the earth, a scuba diver.
scuba diver. Yeah, I used to do some diving.
Any plans to go to space?
Someday.
Richard Branson's a kiter. All you have to do
That's
is hook
right.
up over kiting, and I'm sure you could.
got the vehicle.
Virgin One there. Yeah.
Get you up there.
Yeah.
Don't put
That's
it past
next.
yourself.
That's next, Lynn. We're gonna
Yeah.
get a petition going here.
Unbelievable.
You into space.
Jay, what have you been doing? What do you I know I caught
Keeping it real.
Yeah.
Just trying to keep my head above water.
keep your head above water.
Yeah. I've been out on the ice a little bit with actually telemark skis. I'm somewhat of a novice telemarker. I've skied alpine my whole life, and I've been working on my telemarking on the ice and snow with a kite, and also down at the mountain.
Yeah.
Couple sessions at Hunt Hollow and Bristol, and it's been fun to explore a new discipline.
Yeah, sure.
And the kite actually with the telemark skis was a great way to get a feel for the stance. It's much different, obviously, than alpine, and you can just kind of
Reversed.
pike the kite and get into your squat stance and really start to feel it, because you're going on one tack and for several hundred yards, and you really get a feel for the difference between the edging with telemark is much different than alpine, and
Yeah.
so really get a feel for the stance and how you're controlling the edges, and then also initiating the turn was really good with the kite, because it was a pretty predictable way to send the kite, follow it, and pop into your turn. So that's been fun.
It's a beautiful thing to watch a telemark skier get down.
Oh man,
the hill,
when
the
somebody
turns,
who
the way it
knows how.
flows.
Oh yeah, and that's I started feeling that a little bit, and realizing it's actually way more like laid back of a turn. You'd think you'd be like with the free heels, you're going to be fighting all the time to stay in control, but it just feels way more like surfy almost.
No
and
kidding.
floaty. Yeah.
How
yeah.
does the stability go with those laterally?
Surprisingly great. I mean, I was just when I was at Hunt Hollow, there was some nice corduroy groomed trails. We were hoping that they wouldn't have groomed it and have some powder, but I was able to just do alpine turns with the telemark skis, just carve big GS turns, and I was just amazed that you just stay centered over the skis, and you can just lay into the edges just like you would with alpine, and then switch right back to telemark, which was kind of cool. So it's pretty interesting. So
Wow.
that's kind of the highlight. Unfortunately, we haven't been on the water for several months here. At least I haven't. Forward to get down to Florida in a couple of weeks for a long weekend, and who knows, maybe head out west to the California coast or something. If
Wow.
if,
Very cool.
get a good forecast and ditch.
Well,
yeah. How about you guys?
Yeah, I've been like I said, I gave the Kitewing a shot. I was really lucky that a Kitewing person from New Hampshire was traveling through the area heading to the Fond du Lac, and he stopped, and the conditions lined up really well to try out a Kitewing. So while I don't own one, I have tried one and can speak to how relatively easy it is to pick up and balance. It's pretty familiar, having held a windsurfing rig, and I was able to get up and go in not much time at all. And
To me, the way you're holding it almost reminds me of when I was learning the water start with a windsurfer, and the water start stance. You're in the water, but the wing's above you, kind of, and it just kind of reminds me of that same feel that you get when you're doing a water start.
It
Would you say there's
definitely
some kind of?
I would say there is, yeah.
Because the angle of the wing is about the same, and you're getting that lift to get you up on the board.
It definitely was, yeah. I never felt my body never felt like it was under any undue stress. I felt like, whoa, this is something new.
Yeah.
I'm not used to doing this, but after a couple runs back and forth, Tom was gracious enough to give me a half an hour, 45 minutes that disappeared. It felt like in 5 because I was having such fun. But it was really quite simple to learn.
And the power spilled off.
Yeah,
like enough
when
so that
when
you
the
didn't
couple when they would come through. I think I was telling you before when a couple of the gusts came through.
It was a variable day. Yeah.
Yeah, and it leveled it kind of leveled itself and kind of auto tuned. itself. And I hope as and when I get one that it'll keep going that way. And
Yeah, that was sort of my big question, is that how do they handle in the gusts? Because around here in the wintertime, the winds seem always to be gusty when you go out. There's very seldom a steady day,
right,
when there's any amount of wind at all, and it's usually 0 to 30.
Yeah, there's a big range.
And you're trying to keep a kite in the sky 1 minute, and the next minute you're getting pulled off the water, but or off the ice. But if they handle the gusts nice, that's a real plus for around here.
In my time that I was out there, it really seemed to. I was getting I was on a wing that was for the wind, and for my weight, it was a little small for me. Tom's daughter is a student in our area, and she actually rides it as well. And she began when she was 16, and it's a little smaller because she's a little smaller. And he set it up quickly. It was easier to set up, and I certainly got going on it and felt the rush of it. But I think I mostly got really powered in the gusts, and then kind of glided through some of the lulls, and was able to turn it just by luffing it over my head to windward, and turning down and bringing it right over my head, and it just balanced itself. But we'll see if it keeps going that way. I there's a lot of cool video like we were showing that's out there, and I'm one that learns by watching. So so it's been good to get out. That's what I've been up to. But Jay, before we got to the winter, you threw together a nice little video. Were you riding that board that's behind you? Tell us a little about that.
Part of it, yeah. The videos from some footage in the fall and early winter, and was able to try some new gear that I have. I think we talked about on the last show some, and it's been fun throwing together some video that I was able to take with that solo shot too that I had demoed at the last show. Showed that, and that thing works really well. I bought it mainly just for diagnostic purposes, so I could see what I'm doing wrong when I'm doing various moves on the water, and it's been a great tool for that. But at the same time, the thing, amazingly, with just a relatively inexpensive camcorder attached to that robotic camera mount, was able to take some pretty decent footage. And with that, I did buy the peripheral camera controller device, which allows you to plug by hardwire into the camera and control the zoom action on the camera. And it took some really decent footage, which I was able to throw together in a quick. I like putting together 2-minute videos of fun on the water, and so
you're a good editor of them.
Well, it's fun to be creative and do something,
I laughed about there was a good kind of little silly conversation going back and forth on the forum page about when you're describing your camera, and you were going to plant one of the perceived tough guys next to it on the shore so that somebody couldn't take off with your
with the rig. That's funny. I guess the
Jeff Moore. I think it was Freaky G. I think it was Jeff Moore.
Yeah,
that was. It was a good laugh. He's got a good sense of humor.
We had fun.
You bounced it right back at him. It was quite funny to read.
Yeah, I guess that's an occupational hazard of having your camera mount sitting on the beach is without it being tied to something or someone. Somebody could run off with it.
Like a ninja. They're everywhere.
Yeah, and so just hopefully that we keep the unsavory types away from the beach, So, but so there is a standard locking interface. I guess cameras and laptops have a kind of a universal locking mount where you can put a cable lock on. So I'll probably eventually get that, but then you have to have it near something to lock it to. So we'll see.
So that when it pans this way, there's that tree.
Yeah. Well,
the tree's in the way. Well, it's locked to the tree.
Yeah. So.
Well, it sounds like unfortunately we don't have the video.
Oh, the video.
We don't have the video go live. Something happened here in the studio.
Okay.
But if you want to see the video, if you're watching, you
can
can
post it on. It on.
I think it's on RochesterWindSports.com.
Okay.
If you want to bounce over to the website and see, it's right in the front page, or it's also in the video section as well.
Looks like he's trying it again, maybe, but.
Working some magic.
So hoping to get some time on the water here in the next, hopefully this winter passes and we can get a thaw and have some water time because really itching to get
I
back
think
in the
everybody
water.
is.
Yeah.
And, even being able to enjoy, time on the ice, like Lynn was describing, that it came so early. Well, that makes it longer. And we've been really lucky to have all the sun we've had.
Yeah.
Because of all the ice cover, there's not all the lake effect clouds.
Right.
But so that's been nice. And even I know I saw another video that's on the website from Doug C. over at Rothfuss Park, and
That's right.
he had to use a snowboard because the skis wouldn't work. The snow was just so deep.
Too deep,
Couldn't get
Nice.
the right amount of lift that he wanted.
Very nice.
So that was pretty cool too.
Yeah. I didn't get a chance to see that one. Was there enough wind for him to keep moving pretty well?
He was, got. It looked like he was going pretty well.
Good.
Again, just like you described yourself, a good about 3.5 minute video, and kind of a point of view GoPro camera, and so it was a good video, kind of like yours.
Looks like Jim might have that queued up.
Here's the beefy bean footage.
Oh, here's
This is the snow kiting in Penfield. Okay. This is Doug at Rothfuss. Doug C. at Rothfuss Park in Penfield. And you can see it's pretty deep. You can tell by the snow that it's a pretty good day, and his tracks are already filling in. There's the snowboard.
Yeah, it's so peaceful when it's fresh snow on the ground.
Man, look at that, and that's what I want to chase with you guys.
Absolutely,
that's what I want to chase.
Absolutely.
So we've also got other stuff coming up.
Yes, the Hi-Ho's coming up. Yeah,
hook in and hang out.
Yeah.
And,
Now, I was thinking about this today. Is that something you came up with yourself?
I came up with that version of the Hi-Ho.
Okay.
The Hi-Ho was, I think, hook in and hold on.
Okay.
Down in the Caribbean.
Yes.
I remember the Highland Springs water, I think. Eventually was the sponsor. I don't know if they always were, but Lynn, you probably I only have heard about it. I know I don't imagine, although you've done a lot of other things that you partook in that. Do you know much about what it was? Because I think it's changed around. I don't know how much they windsurf in it anymore, but what was it?
Yeah, well, the Hi-Ho was it was like I think a 4 or 5 day event where they went around the Virgin Islands, and they'd windsurf from one spot to another, and then party every night.
Yeah.
And a lot of partying and some nice windsurfing in pretty mellow conditions, and they'd go from spot to spot around the Virgin Islands. So I remember I was down there actually one year when the Hi-Ho came through, and we were at Soper's Hole on the British Virgin Islands, and these guys were coming in, and the skipper, I couldn't convince him to go back. It was too crowded, and he was afraid he was going to have trouble with getting the boat in and out of there, and he didn't want to go to Soper's Hole. I was going crazy trying to lobby him into going in there to meet those guys and have a good time.
How many guys were they? Did they have like chase boats, sailboats? How did that all? Was the gear provided? Did you have to bring your own gear? Do you know about that part at all?
I think pretty much everybody shipped their own gear down. It's very difficult to get windsurfing gear down there. I know I looked into it, and you had to crate it up and ship it. And
wow.
So the whole thing was really sort of lifestyles of the rich and famous people, not
the average Joe. And that's right. I'm with you too.
So it was the pros, and then some people that had pretty good financing to get down and do that, and it looked like a lot of fun.
It sure is, and I guess that's what I saw. It looked fantastic, splashed all over the pages of
the windsurfing magazines.
Wow,
So I came just a little ways away from actually talking to those guys and partying with them one night, but I just couldn't get the skipper to go back and go in Soper's Hole and try to moor the boat with all the crowd there.
Yeah, and was it quite a crowd? I mean, was it a?
It was, and there's not a lot of mooring at the place we were that night. So we went to the next place over, and I was bumming, but
so close. That's hard.
Anyway, yeah,
that is hard. Well, so the Hi-Ho, as we say it here, is for hook in and hang out. So hook into the harness lines, of course. Mm-hmm. And we've been doing it for 3 years. And it's this year's version will be at Mulconnery's Pub. Jay, both you and Lynn, you guys have been there at all of them. And it's more or less a chance to kind of would you describe reconnecting? I more or less organize it, but we kind of reconnect and hang out and have some laughs for.
It's a great time. You see the guys you haven't seen in quite a while. It's been months now, and I run into a lot of the windsurfing guys that I see on the water, but we don't launch from the same spot, so I don't get to chat with them very often. And this is really nice to get together and catch up and see who's doing what and what's going on.
Yeah, and I know, sometimes I'll find out by talking to some guys that, sure, we're as close as an email or a text or something, but, you often get busy, and that doesn't come through, and you can connect with somebody who's gotten a new piece of gear, and maybe they're looking to sell something that's used, or rigging tips, or hey, I found this awesome spot last fall, or so that's. I mean, I find that stuff a lot of fun to talk over, and just to see the personalities.
Right, it's a few hours goes by. It seems like 10 minutes.
Yeah, there's always we should do this more often, and a couple guys. I know Brad and Geneva's talked about trying to do something maybe down Geneva way, and even doing something on the beach in the summertime.
Yeah.
We all get torn different ways then too, but if you're interested, we can get the footage ready to go, Jay.
Looks
you
like
want to intro
yeah.
this?
Yeah, this is a couple sessions. One starting out at Woodlawn on Lake Erie, Woodlawn Beach, and then finishing at Fairhaven State Park on Lake Ontario. So. Yeah.
Love the windmills.
Do the audio, a little bit audio. Yeah.
You're always good with the. I don't want to talk over it, but you're always good with matching the audio up.
There's some. Yeah, it's copywritten. So this is some of the new gear. Mind you, the camera mount is tracking me automatically, so I'm wearing an armband which talks to the base, which tracks
nice
automatically. Little stall.
Oh.
That's a messy day. It was straight on shore wind, and it was tough to. The ramps were like parallel to the direction of travel, so it was hard to get the ramps.
Oh, there he is. Oh, that is awesome.
It's bigger than it looks.
From the frog.
Yeah. A little bit of.
Oh, man.
Little teabagging.
Oh, look at that.
I was shallow. I was lucky I didn't hurt myself there. That was only probably 2 or 3 feet of water, so I just cannonball.
Wow.
I've been working on this back roll.
Oh, there's the board that's in studio with us.
Yes, it is.
What is that board?
That is a 5.5 Ben Wilson Surf. That is a air transition I've been trying to work on. Little fin blow.
Nice.
And little spray action I didn't have the camera mount quite calibrated right that day, so I was a little out of frame and spot. So here comes a big barrel. I get barreled here shortly. No, just kidding.
Beautiful lake.
It's kind of like I'm practicing. I think the next shot I'm kind of practicing for my, if that were to become a barrel, I would be in it, but far from it. But that's the gist of it. So that's the Ben Wilson Surf is the company that has been nice enough to allow me to be part of their ambassador team.
Fantastic.
And so you can see all the various branding.
I didn't even notice. I just thought it was another handsome shirt you're wearing.
Yeah, Ben Wilson Surf solid.
Look. That's that's how the kids are wearing them these days.
I'm just pimping the stuff. So it's good stuff, and anyone
it
wants
sounds
to
like you've been enjoying it.
Demo any of it. That's a part of my duties as an ambassador is to help and see if it's right for them.
They chose a good guy. Excellent.
Thank you.
Excellent.
Thank you. So.
Well, that was pretty nice video. I mean, that camera setup you've got is pretty amazing technology that can track you back and forth and zoom in and zoom out, and you don't have to worry about it. You just put the armband on and go, and
you don't have to hassle your friend to be standing out. It's one thing if you can stand on the beach on a windless, warm day, but those aren't the days that really are the days we're out there having a good time. We have good winds on cold, nasty days.
And it's worse for the cameraman than it is for the guy riding, because the guy riding has his back to the wind.
That too.
And the camera's
Straight,
is facing into the wind.
Yeah,
It's
standing
pretty cold.
still. Yeah, you
and not getting any exercise and
lose your core
Yeah.
temperature
Yeah.
pretty fast.
The
Yeah,
cameraman's not so warmed by the bliss that the rider's going
Yeah.
through.
He's like,
That
why did I do this?
yeah. But,
Oh man, that was awesome! I'm glad.
Yeah.
Thanks to Jim in the studio
Yeah.
for bringing that up. He worked hard to find that, and that was definitely worth the wait.
Yeah.
That's some awesome footage. So,
Yeah.
um,
I love that shot on Lake Erie, where you're down at the end by the houses down there and
Yeah.
catching those big waves, and that really came out well.
Yeah,
I like
it's
that.
amazing. I mean, I was probably better part of 200 yards away, and the thing still got me,
Yeah.
in the frame and relatively focused. And
The zoom. Can I ask
Yeah.
about the zoom? How did the zoom occur? Did it zoom itself, or was
that's
that
part of the peripheral. I purchased the camera controller, which snaps into the base and then is hardwired to the camera. And they have firmware for certain cameras, so the base talks to the camera, and it figures out where you are in relation to the base, based on your armband and the distance between, and then it zooms accordingly.
That is so
yeah,
cool.
zooms and focuses accordingly, which is
Wow.
pretty sweet.
That's amazing.
I mean, it's and for you think probably 10 years ago that type of rig would be thousands and thousands of dollars, and it's far less than that. It's like $500. I mean, it's still not cheap, but considering for all that you're getting, it's pretty decent rig.
it's amazing
for the price.
technology.
It
you know,
is, it
it's
is.
amazing.
Yeah, and capturing stuff like remotely like that. I mean, you think of lately we're thinking about drones and whatnot.
Yeah.
But a drone in variable 15 to 25 mile an hour winds is not that.
Especially when you've got a $3,000
And
rig
it's
flying above
out
water.
over the water.
Yeah. I just spoke with my friend who has one, and we're going to try it in some lighter winds on snow to start this winter, and get
Cool.
some kite and windscape footage down on one of the ponds, I think, and he can get a feel for flying in wind without risking the thing going into the water. So. So that should be fun, and hopefully we can eventually stitch together some water footage too. If you can get comfortable flying it over water, and maybe we can get an insurance policy or something. So they're pretty sweet though to be able to, because some of that footage from drones is just so cool. So especially, I don't know if you've seen any of the surf footage of and a drone following them, but it's pretty unique camera angle, because they're just coming down, riding down a peeling wave, and this drone is just steadily just tracking it. And
I've seen similar. I think from I think there was something from either Punta San Carlos or somewhere like that, and like a camp down there, and somebody following behind the wave with on a jet ski with like whatever the sticks you can put a GoPro on, and it is kind of a higher angle, but
GoPro, yep.
yeah, GoPro. There you go, GoPro. Aurelian brought us one of those.
yes, he did.
Back when he was a guest on the show.
Yep.
So
Speaking of which, he's now actually repping for Hyperflex wetsuits. And,
no kidding.
Yep. And he's going to be giving us some swag for the Hi-Ho event coming up in March, and some giveaways, and so that'll be good. And it'll be good to have a Hyperflex rep in town to be able to help out folks who are looking for some warm gear for some cold weather.
Yeah, I might be in the market for like a shorty or something.
Yeah, we'll definitely have to talk to him about that.
Yeah, cool. That's good to know he's doing that.
Yep.
It's not surprising. He's a great ambassador, a Great Lakes surfer, right?
Oh, yeah.
Have you had a chance to talk to him lately? Has he gotten out surfing much?
He has
around here?
Not around here, no. But he's heading down to Cocoa Beach, Florida. I think on the 7th, actually, the day before the event. So he won't be able to make it to the event, the Hi-Ho event. But he's itching for some warm water and waves. So
I bet.
Yeah,
that's cool of him to do that. That's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
We'll add that to the list.
Definitely. So
because as you know in the past, we've raffled off some Finger Lakes Coffee Roasters coffee. They've donated some this year again. We actually got a hold of Full Sail Brewery out in Hood River, Oregon. We normally do some sessions, and Full Sail is actually going to donate some beer to be raffled off. We can't drink it there.
Oh.
It's got, well, I mean, I guess we could pay like a corkage fee if you will.
Right.
But they're going to send some beer over from, I don't know if it's coming from Beers of the World or where, but
nice.
I got to go pick that up, and then I'm hoping to pick up some stuff for maybe Lock 32. You and I meet up at Lock 32.
Yeah, great.
On the Erie in Pittsford. And
Let me know if you need me to run over to Beers of the World. I work right nearby.
that will be
there,
convenient.
So,
Thank you. I will do that. So hopefully you guys are coming because you're always the life of the party.
Oh, jeez.
And everybody knows your name.
A couple beers in me.
It's kind of where everybody knows your name, and it really is. It's a great time. We're upstairs at Mulconry's in Fairport on March 8th, 2 to whenever, and it's always a good time to hang out and see some friends. We got a couple women coming this year. We did a couple last year.
Yeah.
In addition to some of the guys ride and bring their significant other, their spouses along sometimes, and so long as they have earmuffs when appropriate, it's a good time. But we're not a bunch of cavemen, but we do like to have fun. Yeah. Anything else? That's cool that Hyperflex is going to do some stuff. Anything else for the good of the cause? Anybody want to mention anything?
Jumping back to that Full Sail ale, boy, I when I was out in the gorge, that was the place to go. They had a brewery out there, and they had a little bar overlooking the river.
Nice.
And you could go there at night, and they'd have their special little 4 beers or so that they served out on the deck. And boy, when you were done sailing for a day, me and my buddy had head right for the brewery and have a fresh beer, and that would really put the cap on the day.
Yeah,
and,
that was
we
that's
really
part.
enjoyed that. You actually walk through the brewery to get to the deck, so you're walking between the vats,
cool,
in and out, and you come out on a deck overlooking the river, and they've got a little bar there with taps.
Well, they were Craft Brewer of the Year last year. I know that's a big accolade for them. And
really?
Yeah.
Wow.
They're, I think it was like InBev magazine, or it's one of the beverage magazines.
Yeah.
And they were the Craft Brewer of the Year, and they've won a lot of awards. We're not sponsored by them or anything, but I do love their everything they make, and the little sessions and the shorty bottles. They've got a whole line now. They've got some seasonal ones. They're gonna be making a cream ale.
Making me
They've
thirsty,
got
man.
Yeah, they've got an export that's
Coffee.
out. So yeah, maybe we head out for one afterwards. But I just thought of something coming up June 13th. Rochester Wind Sports is going to have a booth at the ADK, the local Genesee chapter of the ADK Outdoor Sports Expo or Outdoor Expo in Mendon Ponds. So we'll get some people to staff that and hang out and just let some people feel our gear, hold our gear, see what we do, and maybe be more ambassadors to kiting and windsurfing and all that we do out in the outdoors. So if this ice ever starts to melt, we'll get out. Lynn, you were saying that it was ice to the shoreline.
Yeah, the wind must have shifted because I went back to Seabreeze last night and drove by the lake, and there was a lot of open water and not that much shore ice, as much as there usually is. But there's flat ice out there. There's a sheet that's moving in and out. So this morning, that sheet had moved in, and it was just ice to the horizon, flat ice to the horizon, and a lot of ice packs along the shore. And it's like, wow, it's going to be a long time.
Yeah.
Very cool.
We're out there.
We need a good southerly to come and push that, get a 60-degree day and just push that off to Canada and be done with it for the year.
Yeah, I'll go for that.
Yeah.
60-degree day right now would feel pretty good. It's been a long, cold winter, boy.
Absolutely.
A lot of snow shoveling.
Absolutely would love that. And that's my attempt at a segue to the things we love. What do we love?
I don't know. What do you got?
What do you love? What do I got? Well, I don't have a thing.
I got
today.
something here.
I'll be honest. I love all the people making videos and sharing them with these sports that we do with the world on YouTube and Vimeo. A lot of talented writers, but then a lot of talented editors and stuff like that. We just saw 2 today, and that's kind of how we keep going. I can go online. I can see Reed in Illinois ripping it up, or Doug J. Gus, Pat from Sodus.
Yes.
Riding.
Get him on the show.
Lynn. Yeah, we do need to get him on the show.
Yeah.
All right, so Pat, if you're listening, you're called
That's
out.
right.
I can see the boys up in Sandbanks in Ontario, and then even the Squambats and the Kitewing guys in New Hampshire. So I'm thankful for Vimeo, YouTube, and all the people putting the good footage up there.
Absolutely.
What do you got?
I have a new harness.
What do you love?
It's part of my retail therapy from last fall. I bought new everything.
Very compact.
So this is a custom harness. The brand is Engine. It's a guy who makes them out of his garage, I think, out in California. And he sends you a mold, a thermoplastic mold that you throw in the oven.
My jaw's dropped right now.
And then you fit it to your back. You have your significant other stand on your back. And mold that. You can see the contour there. That's the shape of my failing back. And then you send that back to them, and they make this custom. Now, I don't know, it looks a little homemadey, but I tell you what, from what I've experienced riding this for several dozen sessions through the fall, is this thing showing no sign of wear. And from part of what made me decide to go with what was that a lot of pro riders are using these because it's a custom harness for these guys who are in harness like every day, all day, and they pretty much can't destroy the thing. So there's a lot of features, including really nice soft gel, almost padding on the back. He actually has an offering as an extra to use gel foam in the back.
Engine, Jay?
Yeah, Engine. And rideengine.com, I believe, is the website. And then you can have a full custom graphic on the back. Like I just went with I just said, hey, I'll just go with the standard. But this is like a pseudo carbon fiber looking material here. You can go with. They have like 4 or 5 different patterns you can use, and then you can choose your connection option. And this is their bar. It's a carbon fiber bar with the attachments here like so, and cinches back. And then I went with a snap shackle attachment, which is what I'm going back to after having been with a chicken loop arrangement for several years. But I did the snap shackle to start my first season, and I'm liking the simplicity of it because I'm not unhooking, like I'm not doing a lot of wake style riding, so I'm not unhooking. So why would I have a hook? Then that's the other thing, is I have this floating line here instead of a fixed bar with a fixed position that allows the hook to float. If you're going on a wave, it's a lot more comfortable to have it off to the side like that.
Wow.
So
I love that.
Yeah, features wise, it's very nicely made. It's similar to some of the
known brands.
Yeah, the factory, but custom and very nicely made.
Wow, yeah.
So.
You said it looked a little homemade-y, and you know what? Nothing beats my mother-in-law's homemade apple pie, so there's nothing wrong with homemade-y. And if that fits like a glove, that looks good.
Yeah.
I'm
That's a good idea, sure.
RideEngine.com.
Yeah, I've got riders, anything from Greg Norman Jr. to Ian Aldridge, and a lot of shredders out there using that
Very
product. So,
cool.
yeah.
Very good.
Very cool.
Really nice.
Man, Lynn, you thought of anything, offer anything? We didn't really prep you. Anything you love? We kind of have this little segment we do, things I love.
Benji.
Okay, well, of course, getting to the kiteboarding, I love going up to the end of Lake Ontario, the east end of Lake Ontario. We've had some great sessions up there this fall. Unfortunately, one of the good ones you missed, Jason, but Greg and I were up there, and some of the locals and guys from Syracuse, and it was a 6-meter day. So at the end of Lake O, so the
Big
waves
winds.
were well over head high, maybe double in times, and it was just crazy day.
Wow.
And the waves came in as nice as I've ever seen them, except for the ocean.
A lot to love right there.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
And one of the shots I'll never forget was coming into this wave, and it was just like the tube entry in the videos. The thing was starting to roll 3/4 the way around, and it was like, wow, I could back up into this thing if I dare. But right then I was sort of running for my life, trying to stay ahead of it. But we had just a great epic day up there, and it was so good.
You ride with a lot of good people, so those are good memories.
You take one of the best riders around. This Andy was up there, and he was on a 9-meter kite, and he was getting killed. He had to go to something smaller. So I put up my 6 and rode that all day, and it was just a very memorable day.
Good for you.
We've had some other ones up there when Jason's been along, and just gotten some nice rides, and really beautiful.
East end of Lake O.
Yeah, it's a different world up there.
Uncrowded?
It is, and undeveloped. Unlike Buffalo and on Lake Erie, Buffalo is the breadbasket of America, and so there's just unbelievable post-industrial development on the end of Lake Erie.
Right.
And with the canal that passed from Buffalo off to the east to the Hudson, right? and bypass the east end of Lake Ontario. So all that development that happened at Buffalo did not happen on the end of Lake Ontario. And so up there, it's almost like a mini Hatteras. It's so nice. It's all
Sweet.
It's all pretty pristine, and there's a wildlife refuge, the 10-mile long stretch of beach, which is literally not a single house on it.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Very, very cool.
I think it's between Ontario Point and up near Black Pond, or is it between
Black Pond is the nice spot because you have to walk in. It's almost a mile back over little hills and across boardwalks over marsh and swamp, and it's like a wildlife refuge. But it's
I saw
a wonderful walk back in there, and then there's nobody on the beach except us. So it's
a special
really
place
nice.
up there. I saw an eagle. That just reminded me. I saw an eagle when I was walking through on that boardwalk in the marsh. I just out of the corner of my eye, I saw this enormous creature in a tree, and I was like, "What in God's name?" And then it took off, and I was like, "Oh my God!" I think it was an adolescent bald eagle because it was still brown.
Yep.
But the thing was enormous. I'd never seen, a bird that big, and definitely wasn't a turkey vulture. It was clearly an eagle. I was like, "Whoa!"
Cool sign.
Yeah, and way too big for a hawk. So
very cool.
But, yeah,
very cool.
So
There it is.
I ditto that east end of Lake Ontario. It's a pretty special place.
When that goes off, that's pretty special.
Yeah.
Awesome. A lot of love in the studio then for that kind of stuff today. Well,
Absolutely.
we're a year in, so we got some guests to thank. Lynn, thanks for being in here a second
Lynn.
time. You're our first repeat
Okay,
guest.
well, thanks for having me.
Of course, and
Always
thanks
nice.
for always sharing all your knowledge.
Yeah, and say hi, Benji. Say goodbye.
Oh, back
Thanks,
back
Doug.
home.
Thanks, Doug, for emceeing so nicely.
Hey.
You do a great job always.
I probably talk too much. Some people joke once I get a mic in my hand, I don't stop talking.
Well, you do-
But
do a
we
good job.
owe thanks to Brad, of course. He's been on the show. Bill, Rick, Sam Bittner's phone into the show. She's there in Cabo Verde right now with the AWT. Freaky G, Jeff Moore, Kinger, Brady Doherty, and a number of others. So our viewership has grown, and we've been amazed that we have so many views. And so we thank you, viewers. We love you too. So I guess that's it. Again, thanks, Lynn,
Okay,
for being
well,
here. Jay, anything? Any parting words?
I'm speechless.
Yeah, ready for the
Speechless.
end of the winter.
Speechless. Ready for the
You
end
said
of the
it
winter.
all.
All right. Thanks to Lynn for being in the studio. Will, thanks for calling into the show from kitewing.com. And I'm Doug Willard for Jay Gordon. We'll see you out there.